been away doing the 100 heads challenge for the last month, so haven't uploaded anything for about a month. I am up to number 99, and today I am hoping to do number 100 with you. In my next video, I'll go through and show all the rest of my 100 heads, but for now, let's work on this one. This is the picture of the head that I'm doing for number 100. Now bear with me while I do this. This is my first recording while I've done voiceover at the same time, so let's just see how that goes. Over the time that I've been doing this 100 heads, you'll see that some of the heads are entirely different to other heads. Some of them are really bad, some of them are okay, and I've never really had a real set way of how I like to do portraits. So by doing this, I have kind of come up with a few techniques that I like. I've decided that there's a few that I don't like. I gave the Loomis method a go, and that was absolutely terrible. I won't be doing that one again. But I have kind of come up with squares seem to help me with mapping out where the face is and what's going where. Sometimes it's a little bit of trial and error, but it seems to help with figuring out, you know, jaw shape, where the nose is going, where the eyes and the eyebrows are going. I think my last few heads of this challenge, I've focused on this type of mapping out, and it has definitely helped me a lot. I've really been looking forward to finishing this 100 heads. I think I got to number 30 and I went, oh, I'm in for a long journey with this. And I went, oh, I'm gonna stick with it. I didn't do it the way that you are meant to do it. So a lot of people do, it's 100 heads in 10 days, and between work and life and motivation and video games, I was not going to be able to do that. So I thought, if I can do 100 in a month, I will be happy, and I pushed through that quite well. There were, when we go through my heads, you'll see that there were quite a few heads where they probably only took me 10 minutes, but most of the heads that I've done, it took a lot longer than 10 minutes each. So to do, 10 a day, I'd have to be spending basically my whole day doing it, or having really terrible pictures, and as I said, some of them are terrible, but I wanted to make sure that I was still getting something from doing this challenge. So by making sure that I got at least half of them in a way that I was happy with them. I didn't feel like I was wasting my time doing this challenge, because it has kept me from being able to do other art. Like I'm missing painting. I'm looking forward to getting in and doing some painting and playing more with my acrylic markers and doing that kind of thing. I just got the new Pokopia game, and I really would like to draw some more Pokemon. I'm thinking in like the watercolor style. So hopefully in the next week or so, I will be back to doing a little bit more interesting art than just portraits. I don't dislike portraits by any means, but when you're doing 100 of them, it is hard. Alright, so I've got kind of our general map out done. I found starting really loosely does help. When I first started doing portraits, I thought every single line has to be exact from the get-go. Thankfully, I have learned that I don't have to do that. I just kind of map everything out and make sure that they are in the right spot, with more of a hard pencil that can easily be erased, just really light lines. And then I'll go in afterwards with a fine 2B pencil. So fine, I think I use a 0.3, depends on a 0.3 or a 0.5 to go in and finish it off afterwards. But for now I'm using a 2H. Okay. I always have a little bit of an issue with this jaw area when the head is slightly tilted, and it's not really till later in that I will figure out whether it's in the right spot or not. So I'm just going to go through, get a bit of shading in. I have a headband here which I've kind of gone over, but that's okay. And most of her neck here is in shadow. Shadow around the eye here. Shadow up here. I think I've got her mouth probably a little bit out of where it's meant to be, but we can adjust that as we go. And her head might be a little bit longer than what it's meant to be. A lot of these aren't exactly to how the person looks, but just getting that kind of general vibe. I think I actually need to bring her nose a little bit lower down, so let's do that. We're going to go down about here, and this bit is about here. Yeah, none of this is exact. I just kind of scribble until... Sorry, alarm clock is going off. A lot of this is just scribbling till we get it in more or less the right kind of proportions. All right. And just kind of rub in where we've got shadows and depth and that kind of thing. Just to kind of loosen it up. Okay. So that's my 4B. That's all right. So I've upgraded to a B pencil now. Where are we gonna go? I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna start off with this mouth area and get that shape in. So I just will continue working in with shadows that I need. This whole area down here is quite a dark shadow. Now she does have an ear here, quite high up because of where the angle of the picture is taken. So I'm just going to go about here. And then get this shadow that's down under here, which comes from her hair. And I think we're going to just kind of, go like this. And hopefully her jaw's not too wide there. And kind of see as we go. I do have a tendency to make these jaw areas too big at this angle. So there are quite a few of this angle in my 100 heads because I knew it was something that I needed to work on. And then in some of them, they ended up way too small as well. Okay. The smudge stick is my absolute best friend while I do this, because all of my scratchy lines I can blend out. Turn things into more of a shadow. Got a bit of a shadow under her eye here as well. Try not to put too many too many of the lines and stuff, so that she doesn't end up looking wrinkly or anything like that, because she's not. But sometimes just adding in, you know, your natural lines that the face makes in drawing can make them look very wrinkly or very strange. So I try to keep that general main face area relatively clean. As I said, smudge stick is my best friend, especially when it comes from doing the hair, because I hate doing the hair. So I just kind of get depth in. I'll add some lines and detail in after, but for the most part I just kind of leave it as some smudge. Now I've got a little bit too close to her eyebrow here, so we're just going to erase some of that. That looks a bit better. I'm gonna just reshape her eyebrow a little bit. As I said, I'm not going for exact. I'd just like to get the general expression that she's giving and a little bit of the likeness. And get the shadow in at the eye. A little bit of a funny shape in our nose here, but that's alright, it'll come together as we go. I'm gonna extend that out a bit. No, not happy with that. Alright. So we kind of need it roughly about here. And this might throw out my whole nose. Alright, now okay, it's a little bit funny. It's a little bit funny. So we'll pull that in there. Okay, it's not so bad. I think it's not too bad. This is definitely, of course, the one that I'm going to film is going to be not necessarily one of my better ones, but that's okay. most of these I did them on the couch, watching TV, and I do a little bit here and a little bit there, and you know, didn't take too much seriousness in them. So that's why I've not filmed any of them up until now. But because it has taken up so much of my time to do, I definitely wanted to make some kind of video on them. And I figured it's a good opportunity to film and chat. You know, if I'm painting, you've got to wait for things to dry. And drawing, I can just sit here and babble along. Yeah, it's definitely not going to be one of my better pieces, but that's okay. I'm going to make sure that we get through this. So her eye, yeah, her ear is sitting, well, perhaps probably not quite as high as that, just probably a little bit lower. Have I made that jaw too wide now? Again, I hate doing the jaws. There's just something about it that I just can't see where it's meant to sit. Just going to work this shadow in because she's got a lot of shadow underneath the chin area there. Just emphasise this here with hair. I don't like drawing too many strands of hair individually, but because she does have kind of a wispy fringe, I don't really want to make it look like she's got a block of hair there. So just kind of smudge it in. Probably, she does have a larger chunk here, so I will do a bit more in here. And It's nice. Nice big black bit on the face, that's fine. Okay. I feel like we've kind of lost her look a bit. Definitely something going on with the jaw here. I think I'm adding too much cheekbone, so we'll just shave some of that off a little bit. Yeah. And maybe if we just extend mouth out a little bit because we extended the nose out. That looks a little bit better. Alright, I think that's overall what we're going to kind of work with. It's definitely a bit off, but that's okay. We're just going to go with it. As I said, it doesn't really matter. This is just for my own challenge, my own learning experience. So once I've switched, to my 0.3 2B pencil, and so I now will get more detail in. And I'm sorry, I've probably just put my head in the picture quite a bit. Yeah, I've extended this eye out definitely too far, so we're going to do a quick little one of these and just cut half that off. And we're just going to bring that in here. So much of this I just don't see as I'm doing it, and it's not until later on I go, oh, that's off. And it's going to add to the, I guess, the character of the drawing. I'll use that as an excuse anyway. Nah, not loving that. Definitely not loving that. Okay. Yeah, so I've definitely got something very strange happening in these eyes, and I'm 100% sure what it is as of the moment. I think this eye should have been in a little bit further. I don't think this eye's too terrible. So I think what we might actually do, extend that out a little bit. I think I'm just going to erase this whole eye. I'm going to do one of these. And this has been a lot of what I've been doing through this 100 Heads challenge, is erasing and starting again. So I know people say that you really shouldn't spend more than 10 minutes, but as I said earlier, there is no point in doing this if I'm only going to spend 10 minutes per head and get absolutely nothing out of it. I want to make sure that I am getting something out of it. So if I have to erase a whole eye, I'll do that, that's fine. So not a huge difference in location, but it's something. I'm starting to think that this particular portrait might just be a complete failure because it's not capturing anything that I kind of wanted it to, and of course my eyes aren't working. So we're just going to kind of bust through some of these features. Definitely when I spend too long on one spot. So I've spent too long on those eyes and trying to get them to do what I wanted them to do, and they're clearly not working. Okay. So just gonna get some of these shadows in. Probably should have added a little bit more of these shadows in a little bit earlier, but that's okay. She's got a big shadow in around this eye, so we're just gonna have a pretty big shadow just here. And I don't do too much detail on the ears, I just kind of put the rough shape in. Okay, she's definitely looking a bit strange. Let's see. I don't think the jaw's too bad. Add a couple of details around the lips. Definitely thinking about where I could add to make it look just a bit better. Don't think her eye position's too bad. I do think... No, I don't know what I think actually. All I know is there's something not quite right about it, but I'm not going to get too hung up on it. As I said, it's my very last one, and if it's not going to be perfect, that's okay. Still looks like a general face. It's not too scary. I don't think I caught her likeness well enough, but that's okay. We are going to just got a little bit of a bushier eyebrow than what I gave her. So just extend that out a little bit. Yeah. Increase that shadow in there. I think I will add a couple of lines. We should have that crease of her eye, and a bit more of that shadow in here. And I think we're going to leave it about there. As I said, it's not perfect by any means. It thankfully is the last one of this challenge. And you know what? I might do it again in the future, I might not, but 100 is an extremely long challenge, and I take my hat off to anybody who does it in 10 days, because it's taken me a month. And some of them a lot better than others, but for now, that's my 100 done. I hope to see you next time. Bye.